Well, welcome. I'm Eileen Keratin. I am your spiritual director, and I am so glad to be here today. Another couple of weeks of saying Eileen Keratin, your spiritual director, because next month it will be Reverend Eileen Keratin. I'm telling you, it's going to happen right after I leave on my August trip up here. So I won't be able to celebrate with you until early September, but I'm super excited. And I'm even more excited because, on the bottom of your bulletin it says Eileen Keratin, RSCPE. Do you ever wonder what that stands for? Mm-hmm. That stands for Religious Science Practitioner Emeritus. That means that I have been a practitioner through Centers for Spiritual Living for over 20 years. Right? Yay. Yesterday we had practitioner panels for our practitioner students. And we had 4 people that passed and are now licensed practitioners here at the Center for Spiritual Living. 3 of them are here today. Let's celebrate Janet and Catherine and Renee. Jim is not with us today. He is out doing something else. And
are licensed to pray.
Yes. Jim is, hello my love. Jim is not with us today, but he too is here as a licensed practitioner. These folks are licensed to pray. They're not free anymore, folks. The only time you're going to get a freebie from them is after service. They can charge you a fee now. So, and as they should, right? They went to school for multiple years. 5 years. To become licensed, just like a lawyer passes the bar and they pay a license fee, and just like a therapist pays a license fee. So if you would like an extended session with them, please, by all means, reach out to them. But if you need prayer in the meantime, grab them after service. Call me, call me. First one's free. No, that's my job. That's my job, to be of support. So you can always call me, but I'm going to probably say on their behalf, don't ever feel like you can't call them. Don't ever feel like you can't call them if you need something. But if you're sitting with a session, by all means. All right, so we're talking about practice makes perfect. As our students can tell you, practice makes imperfect. Right? Right? How many of us have ever freaked out about taking a test? Test anxiety? God, I'm the worst. I'm the worst. Why? Why is that?
Fear of failure.
Fear of failure, doubt. We want to be perfect, right? We want to be perfect. Today we're going to talk about, and the science of mind point of view of this leaning into perfection is that everything in existence, including what we perceive as flaws, is divinely perfect. Often in prayers you'll hear people say, and you'll hear even in our closing affirmation, just the way that it is and just the way that it is not. Right? Everything is perfect, just the way that it is and just the way that it is not. I looked up the word perfection. And I read this and I went, oh, no wonder our society is so uptight sometimes. Perfection in the dictionary says, the state of quality or quality of being or becoming perfect. But what do we all hear? We hear the beginning, the state of quality of being or perfect. Do we hear the word becoming perfect? No. So I looked at the history of the word perfection. It came around 1175, 1225 from the Latin perfectus, which it's the past participle of perifierce, to finish or bring to completion, fierce, to do or to make. To finish or bring to completion something that we're doing or making. Does it say exact in there? Does it say exact? I didn't hear it. Did you? Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something there. We're looking at oneness. We're all connected to something, right? It's not perfect. Or is it?
Yes.
Or is it? Imperfectly perfect. What's that weed we're all trying to pull, the bushy thing with the yellow that's Scotch broom. We're all trying to pull the Scotch broom out of our yards because it's highly flammable, right? And I was trying to explain this to my husband, and he said, but they're so beautiful. And I said, they are. They are. And they can be so dangerous around our home. So we can bless them as we remove them, right? We can bless them. We can look at the beauty of the plant and take care of ourselves in the same time. I don't have to walk up to that Scotch broom and go, you're bad. You're terrible. I don't like you. You're ugly.
You're invasive.
Yeah, you're invasive. I don't walk up to my weeds and say, disgusting. I want nothing to do with you. But do we do that in life? Do we do that in our own minds? From the perspective of oneness, we understand that all is divine, and that oneness does not imply sameness or uniformity. It encompasses the diverse expressions of existence, including our imperfections, and we recognize that each individual is a unique piece that contributes to the wholeness of a divine tapestry. A divine tapestry. I used to work in an organization many years ago, and we had an executive VP, and she would talk about the tapestry of what we were doing and how all of the departments within our organization are part of the larger company. All of our work was a part of weaving this beautiful tapestry to create the product that we were creating to put out into the world. And she said, it's a beautiful tapestry. What we do is wonderful. And when we turn that tapestry backwards, what do you see on the backside? Knots, hanging threads. It looks like a mess, right? It looks like a mess. There's all this stuff going on in the background. It's not perfect. It's imperfect on the back. But when you turn it around to the front, it's absolute beauty. Everything connects the way it's supposed to. It's appealing to the eye. But you turn it back around and you go, anybody ever do needlework or weaving or any of that? Yeah, and you turn your piece over and you're like, oh my God. Oh my God, what was I doing? Or if you're doing woodworking and you're cutting that wood, you're sawing, you're running it through your saw, your hand sawing it, you're putting something together, and then that one piece of the wood splits. Ikigai. Ikigai is what they call it in Japanese. Ikigai is when something is just not perfect. Yesterday, I went to the event at the art center, where the Japanese, our sister city in Japan had artists and artisans here. We went to go watch the taiko drumming. Not so much for the sake tasting, that's not really my thing, but we went for the drumming. It was amazing. We had a really good time. And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna participate in this. Not only am I gonna drum on the same drum with Sally, we were drumming together at the very end, it was super fun. But I'm going to participate. I'm going to donate from my overflow. I'm going to donate to the art center and to this program. So I went and bought 2 sake cups, and I did taste. Jim gave me his favorite, and I went, all right, that's okay. I'll go back for a second. But what I got to take home was these beautiful sake cups. Ooh. Right? These beautiful sake cups. This is one. It looks almost perfect. The edges are a little, it's a little crooked this way. It kind of sits flat, right? It's perfect in its imperfection. That was the second one I picked up. You want to see the first one I picked up?
Yeah.
This is the first one I picked up. Do you see this online? There's the opening.
Ikigai.
Ikigai. I loved this one because it is imperfect. How cool is that? It's just different. And it made me smile. It made me smile because of its imperfection. I don't know if that's what the artist intended, but it's what spoke to me. What spoke to me. When I do my woodworking, I remember when I was learning how to turn on the lathe, and oh man, I was worried I wanted it to be perfect. My first bowl, when I learned, was perfect. It was perfect. I went really slow. You know, my teacher was teaching me how to do it. He was right there the whole time. It was awesome. I loved that bowl. And then I get a little bit more comfortable. I'm going to move these so I don't shake the podium, by the way. I'm going to put them here. I'd get more comfortable. I would get to the lathe by myself. I would put my wood piece on my chuck and I would put it in there and tighten it down, and I'd start to work, and I wouldn't have tightened it hard enough and my wood piece would go flying. Oh, this is why you wear a full face mask when you do wood turning. I was working on a piece that was so exciting. It was a piece of walnut that had fallen in my neighbor's yard. It had fallen during a storm, and he posted on Facebook or something, hey, anybody want to come over and help me cut up this tree? He had a wife and a baby at home, and I said, after church, I'll be there. So after church, I went over, and he had the chainsaw, and I had the little things, and I got a piece of wood, and I thought, I'm going to make him a bowl out of this. And as I started to turn the wood, I found the bugs. Again, so glad I had a face mask on. And as I was almost to the end, just thinning out the mouth of the bowl, I caught a bug hole and it cracked. And I literally, I hit the off button on this big, huge lathe, and I sat down in all of the sawdust that was around me. I've been working on this for weeks. And the pro in the shop walked over and he said, Eileen, what's wrong? And I said, I ruined it. He went, hold on, let me look. And he spun it around and he says, no one would ever know but you. Finish the piece. Finish the piece. And I did. And it became one of my favorite pieces. I almost didn't want to give it to my neighbor because I loved it, right? But I gave it to him, and every once in a while, he'll send me a message and say, you know, we still love that. It is one of our favorite pieces. The kids have picked it up and dropped it, and nothing's ever happened to it. And I'm thinking, in understanding wholeness, we realize that oneness is made up of all of the pieces. I went back with another piece of wood, a smaller piece this time from that tree, and I started to turn it, and the bugs all came out, and I was glad I was wearing my full face mask because those are gross. And this time I decided to take the bowl, and everywhere where the bugs had been eating through it, I went with a pick and I knocked out all of that little bug sawdust. Bug poop is what it is. I popped it all out. And this little tiny bowl, and I'll have to bring it one day, has all of these holes, beautiful holes in it. And it's the perfect size for a round candle. So I found a round battery operated candle and I dropped it in and it glows beautifully. It's the imperfection of the wood. A lot of people would have looked at that and went, junk, and thrown it away, right? They would have thrown it away, but instead I decided to look at the imperfection of it. In my many years of working at Facebook, we had posters, red block letters on white background, and it would, whatever somebody said that somebody thought was inspiring, they would put it on a short poster. And one of them that was in the office that I saw and I appreciated was, done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. And I thought, you know what, when you're writing code and you want to get things out, you know, we were a young, fast-moving company. We need to get things out quick. Push the next iteration out. Finish what you're doing. We're going to push it out on Tuesday. That was the day that we did our weekly push. All the new things were coming out that day. That was great for software engineers writing code, but not for me. I was the executive business partner for a high-level executive. This has been my career. And my job was always to be the face of my executive. I had to be perfect in all ways. I had to be perfect. Because I was always representing whoever I was supporting. That's hard work, people. That's hard work. My social life went away. My spiritual practice became my work, right? I would work at my spiritual practice. I would go to work and I would work. I wasn't allowing my spiritual practice to come through me. I didn't have time or space for creativity anymore because I was always on, always on, always on. It's exhausting. And then when I started School of Ministry, I needed to be perfect, 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 perfect. But if I didn't understand something, I would not do it. I would fret, I would worry, I would call everybody, I would start study groups, I would call email and call my professors, I would call my dean, I would call the registrar of the school just to hear somebody tell me I'm okay. I would call all of my ministerial buddies and say, how did you get through this class? And they'd say, just turn in the paper. But it's not right, turn it in. But I need to, turn it in. My dear friend, Reverend Abigail Shire, she's the assistant minister in Seattle with Dr. Kathy Hearn. She said to me, Eileen, go for the B. Go for the B. Don't go for the A. Go for the B. Took me a long time to get that. Go for the B. Done is better than perfect. And yet there's times when I fell on my face. Some of my students know in my Homiletics 2 class, this is learning how to put together and do a Sunday talk. My final paper. I walked in the door and I opened my mouth and I started doing my last oral, 10 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever it was on a certain subject. And I opened my mouth and started speaking and I thought, who is talking? And what are they talking about? I don't believe a lick of this. And I went through it. The whole time standing outside of myself thinking, what are you saying? Who are you right now? This is not who you are. This is not anything about who you are. I was trying to put the square peg into the round hole. My professor said to me, maybe you shouldn't be a pulpit minister. I thought, ooh, maybe I shouldn't. I walked around with shame. I walked around with shame for about 5 or 6 days. I was sitting in my office and somebody in my area was saying, all right, come on, it's Toastmasters time, let's go. And I went, I need to go there. So I went to Toastmasters and the next week, Freddie said to me, who is the guy that sat near me, he said, I'm gonna have you introduce yourself. I said, great. So I wrote a little introduction about who I was per their guidelines and went up and did it. And afterwards they all said, so how long have you been in Toastmasters? This is my second meeting, why? Like, you are a natural. Who are they talking to? I have no idea. I was just told by somebody I loved and respected that maybe I shouldn't be a pulpit minister. I was imperfect in that moment, in that day, in that exam. I passed the class, I don't know how. But I did. I was ready to take it again. And rather than freezing, I decided to go to Toastmasters and learn a little bit more about myself. So when we embrace our imperfection, we can shift our perception and expanding possibilities. When we embrace perfection, we can expand our possibilities. One of the things that has been in my head for years and years, for 20, 30, God, since 1989, since May 5th, 1989. In the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous on page 417, it says, acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. Acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. In the Big Book, they're talking about accepting the fact that they have an addiction. But in so many parts of my life, I can say acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. Accept your imperfections, damn it. Get over yourself, Eileen. Right? Right? Get over yourself. How many people don't, this goes on in my San Jose house, don't invite certain people over to your house because of the way it looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some people that I won't let in my house because of the way it looks. Boy, I had to get over that. When I finally, after my mom passed and all of her stuff came into my house and COVID allowed us to open up again, I started to invite a few friends into my house. And I would invite them saying, please don't judge the state of my house right now. I'm working from home, it's chaotic. Mark's remodeling the bathroom, there's stuff everywhere. And they walk in the door and look around and go, I don't know what you're talking about. They don't see it. They're there to see me. Right? When I realized that they were there to see me, I was able to let myself off the hook. Friends are allowed over now. When I'm embracing that diversity and uniqueness, I'm looking through a lens of oneness. When we do that, we understand that our divinity encompasses all of it. All of it. Each individual with their unique imperfection contributes to the wholeness of the divine, contributes to that beautiful tapestry that is life. We're all here for a reason. And if we believe that we are connected to that one thing, that greater energy that I call God, Spirit, Divine One, if we believe that we're connected to it, then we are, and we believe that we are made in the image and likeness of it, we then can say, I am here as the best me I can be. I don't have to be George. I don't have to be Catherine. I don't have to be Jenna. These are people in my mind are perfect, whole, and complete. I adore them. Right? I don't have to be them. And they have flaws. And I don't have to choose to pick on them. Right? We all have flaws. You ever pick on yourself for your own flaws? Me. Right? Stop it. Stop it. When that goes off, go like this. Stop it. That's what I do. So when we embrace that mosaic, that tapestry of life, we embrace the imperfections, but we recognize that those aren't shortcomings. Imperfections are not shortcomings. But imperfections are valuable components that add depth and meaning to that tapestry of life. Marilyn Monroe has this quote, and I love this. She says, imperfection is beauty, madness is genius, and it's better to be absolutely ridiculous than absolutely boring. Come here, Brigitte, I need you to read this. Because when I said it out loud, I heard it in Brigitte's voice.
I love it. Imperfection is beauty. Madness is genius. And it's better to be absolutely ridiculous than absolutely boring.
Is that her or not? Thank you. She didn't know I was going to ask her to do that. So when we embrace our imperfection in these ways, we get to embark on this journey of self-discovery and transformation. And your invitation this week is to look for places in our lives where imperfections are asking us to shift our perception. Where are our imperfections or imperfections around us asking us to shift our perception? Embrace the diversity and uniqueness and recognize the significance of imperfections in personal growth. Like the caterpillar goes into the chrysalis and becomes this ooey gooey muck. It's not pretty, it's kind of gross, but it transforms itself into this beautiful butterfly. We don't look at the muck and go, ew. We say, oh, look, something wonderful is about to happen, right? So look at imperfections that way. Recognize, I already said that, recognize the significance of that in our personal growth. And through this exploration, we will uncover new pathways to self-acceptance, to authenticity, and to a greater sense of belonging in the vast tapestry of existence. Hina Khan said, imperfection is the new perfection. Imperfection is the new perfection. So I invite you to embrace it. Let's do a little prayer. I am grateful for this community where I can practice my imperfection. I'm grateful for the divine one that allows itself to express itself through me, as Eileen Kiritan, just as it does through each and every one of you. There is no spot where God is not. It's all here. It's all in everything we see, taste, touch, and feel. It is the divine one. It's perfection and imperfection. It's joy, it's love, it's beauty, it's health, it's power, it's balance. And all of these things we are as well. So I'm knowing and claiming in this moment absolute celebration, absolute revelation, absolute elation in the imperfection in life. Knowing that it's all God's doing, that there's no place for negativity around it. No matter what someone else is thinking or saying or doing, I can celebrate the perfection of the divine one expressing itself through them. I can look at that Scotch brush and I can recognize the perfection in it. That while it still does its flowering and feeds the bugs and the birds, when it's done, I can remove it and still bless it. I know that this world, this week, last week, the events of yesterday and Friday in the world today, the passing of people that we've loved and the devastation in our politics this weekend are imperfectly perfect. Imperfectly perfect. Wars are imperfectly perfect. And yet, I get to stand here at the cliff of the world. At the cliff of the world, looking out over the Pacific Ocean, and I can send love to the entire planet. And when I send love to the entire planet, I know I'm doing that with a love and a place of healing. A place of healing. All those that are desiring something different in their lives, may they receive that now. May all those that are desiring healing or abundance or a shift in perception, all those that are experiencing something that they choose not to, I'm knowing that the divine one is right there, right now, shifting that perception. Reminding each and every one of us that we are perfect, whole, and complete, just the way that we are and just the way that we are not. And that all I have to do to be reminded of that is to sink into my heart center and breathe. God is good. God is good. Divine love is good. Spirit is good. Life is good. And I claim all of it. And I'm grateful for this knowledge. I'm grateful for these teachings. I am grateful to have the awareness to know that I'm not alone in this world. I'm not alone, and neither is anyone else. That together we can create incredible, magnificent things. And so I release this prayer into the mind of God, knowing that it's already done, that there is nothing else that I need to do but walk in the direction of my dreams. And I invite you all to do exactly the same. So let's anchor this prayer together. Let's anchor it by saying together, and so it